I'm very appreciative that I wake up every day.
April 19th, 1995, PJ Allen was dropped off at daycare. At just 18 months old, he was learning to talk, just playing with his friends. Then the moment that would divert his life's path. PJ was one of 6 children who survived the unimaginable. They quickly became known as the Miracle Babies. A collapsed lung, dislocated arm, head trauma, damaged vocal cords. 20 years ago, KOCO interviewed PJ and a paramedic who helped save him.
But when I went up to go see you at the hospital, I think it was 2 days after, in the ICU. And before that I was going to quit my job. I decided I couldn't be a paramedic anymore. But after I saw you, I told myself, if he can survive this, if he's going to fight, and I knew you were going to make it, I told myself I can do it too.
The majority of PJ's little body covered in third-degree burns. He spent months fighting for his life, and when he finally had a view other than hospital walls.
Couldn't go outside, really, because of the skin damage. The sun would be too violent on his.
There were still years of recovery ahead of him. PJ says he couldn't play outside until the sun went down, and many days were spent looking forward to the night when he could be like any other little boy, running around his neighborhood.
4th and 5th grade, that's when I first got to be around other kids.
But despite his unique upbringing,
all of it was pretty normal for me because I was too young when anything happened to know any other way of life, so I never ever looked at anything as not being a normal kid.
It was his normal, and slowly most of PJ's injuries healed. But some, like his reduced lung capacity, are a reminder of what happened.
I still think about it from when I take a brain treatment, so it's not something that I will ever forget. But I know that some people weren't as fortunate enough to have their loved ones come home that day.
Now 30 years have passed, and PJ says despite the challenges he's faced, he knows there's a reason he made it out alive.
Surviving in general, my goal has always been to figure out what God wanted me to do in this world.
He says he thinks the answer is giving back to those who saved his life.
To waste a life or the extension of opportunity that I was given, I just can't settle with that.
PJ now works at Tinker Air Force Base as an airplane technician.
It's highly unlikely that I'll be able to do a service job like be a firefighter, be a soldier, or police officer just due to the physical restraints. So when working here, it allows me to give back and provide some sort of service to help out to the very same people that was there that day helping out everyone else.
He says helping people in service.
This is probably as close as I've made it to my purpose so far. I like what I do, and I do feel like I am helping out every day.
He pictures his younger self, fighting, surviving, inspiring. And while scars from that dark day remain,
it's my voice. It's unique, and I like it that way.
He says nothing will strip him of his gratefulness, his faith, and his purpose. Reporting, Elise Jones, KOCO 5 News.